Hello, pilots, and welcome to episode 12 of the Ramjet Anvil Show. I'm Zelver Nelson Jr., the developer of All Hail Spider God, Screw Your Bear Dad, and Mazurka Ghost in Italy, and today I'm very happy to again be joined by my fantastic colleagues working on Volo Airsport proper, Martin.
That's me, but I'm really busy right now.
And Frank.
Hi.
And actually, before we get into the main topic of today's episode, we have some interesting reader comments, and viewer comments, I should say, from last week to address. Right, Frank?
Yeah, that's right. We got a lot of reactions on our last video, can we remove the leg? And
by the way,
the first one...
Oh, I was just going to say, by the way, we did figure out that we could remove the leg, and it was excellent.
Yeah, it was nice. But most of the questions were about the skydiving, where we removed the wings. So the Ghost 141, he said, normal skydiving looks really amazing to mess around with. I hope it will get implemented soon. And to comment on that, I agree, it looked really cool, but like Martijn said in the last video, the simulation model is not ready for it. So it was more of a fun thing to do than really showing off, okay, this is where we are going. So we still don't know whether it will be implemented or when or... Right?
I'll say we want to, and certainly the video showed that it's possible, but going from what is a really quick prototype to sort of tested live to something we can release and that just works, that's a different story.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how huge of a divide that was until I started making my own games, and I realized I didn't want people to see what I was making during development because, oh god, it's not ready yet, even if it looked cool. So the verdict on skydiving, or tracking, as the comments helpfully pointed out, I didn't even know that tracking was a thing, or that was another name for skydiving, or a form of skydiving, which is cool. But
by the end of this, you'll know everything there is to know about skydiving and more.
I can be
without ever having done it.
I can become a licensed skydiving instructor.
Yes.
I am Volo approved.
We should put a massive disclaimer on this episode now.
But that said...
But it worked in Volo. Oh my god, I don't want to hear that.
That's gonna be on my my epitaph, I'm afraid.
It works in Volo. That said,
please don't.
The difference between something looking cool and between being up to the standard of everything else that is in Volo Airsport as of now in the official releases, there's a wide gulf, and we want to make sure that gulf is significantly shortened and eliminated before we put any official modes into the game or confirm the existence of any future modes of movement or flight.
Yeah. So the next one, also from the Ghost, concerning input speed scaling. How about a button that lets you switch between one and a certain minimum value? Maybe you could perform some funky flips using this. To quickly recap what input speed scaling is the faster you go, the more subtle your movements will be. So if you violently use the stick to move around, if you go fast, you still make subtle movements, because high speed will introduce lots of variation in where you're going, and so you want to make that subtle. But if you want to do tricks instead, you want to have less subtlety. You want to move your limbs very freely. So I think it's really a good idea to think about if we can improve upon this input speed scaling, like how it works right now, and make it more dynamic. Terrible.
Yeah, I'm getting used to the longer deployment times.
Yeah. I have no clear idea how yet we will be making this more dynamic, but it's really an interesting idea to pursue.
And it's actually, can't you use the parachute that's in game now to do some flips with?
Oh yeah, that's well remembered actually. Just forgetting that one. Let me do that real quick. But with regards to the speed scaling, it is a good idea. And right now speed scaling is just kind of always on. And once we start defining some contexts, like now I'm doing a barrel roll, now I'm trying to do a flip, we could start toning it down a little bit and give the character more degrees of freedom, or just more freedom to do stuff. There was
there
one.
You go.
And another one with a... Oh, that was a bit too much.
It's close.
Yeah, try doing this in real life. Not this.
Oh.
But yeah, that speed scaling, adaptive speed scaling thing, it's a good idea. And since we're going to be... well, especially for 3.8. I mean, 3.7 is focused on the parachute release. We've already sort of decided that 3.8 is going to focus a lot on the actual character. That speed scaling adaptive thing is something we can start experimenting with.
Very cool. And in the Ghost 141's final part of his comment, or her comment, you see the third segment was, I'd love to see a no-wind mode so we can explore all the parts of the world and not only the middle part. And I really like the idea of having natural occurrences of strong winds and stuff, but having the option to mess around with the game would even be better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess that's a personal preference, but I do think there's room for like a test environment where you can mess around with the wind at your will, and there's a lot of room for a natural environment like there is right now, where the wind actually does not do what you want it to do.
Certainly more variation.
Yeah.
It would be welcome. There is one thing I should say about the... I think he also meant the wind at the edges of the levels.
Oh yeah, that's right. The wind at the edges of the levels is actually there to prevent you from going into the terrain that's actually merely there for decoration instead of flying around in, because it's pretty low resolution, not really interesting.
Wow. It's fake.
It's fake. It's not even.
I'm sorry
real.
to say.
It's fake terrain.
It might not always be
cardboard.
fake, but at the moment it's very cardboard.
It's the
Who
Area
knows what would
51
happen?
of Volo Airsport.
There be dragons. No, wait. Actually, in video game terms, there be dragons sounds like a fun thing that you should go towards. No, these are not. These are cardboard dragons.
There be health debuffs here.
Yeah. So, that it's interesting though, the comment in that you just look at it and it makes you feel like you want to go there. So who knows? Maybe someday we'll make it so that you can go further than those winds. But for now, that's not that easy because we haven't actually dreamt up any of the terrain there.
And we actually had another comment from Skyfree 4K.
Skyfreak.
Skyfreak. And they said, will you eventually add a slow motion switch to the latest beta? I'd love to play around with time. And actually, that's something I would also greatly value as well, because in slow motion, I can greater appreciate the enormity of my mistakes before making them.
Okay.
And during making them and afterwards.
I liked it. I liked it as well when we did that in the last episode. I don't want to promise anything on that.
I know you don't.
But yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe it will get integrated in some way.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Could we do it? The slow motion thing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to do. But then again, if you want to use it, you need another button on your joypad, and we already used up all of those.
Yeah, there it is again. The how many buttons do we have and how much user interface do we need to design for any particular feature? The slow motion itself, turning it on in the editor,
that's
is easy.
Just by the nature of the editor, because you're literally playing in God mode, and you can switch between editing things and not. And when you're actually playing a physical release version of a game that has things locked down and has things in there by necessity and things out by necessity, then it's much harder to go into sort of God mode and say, okay, this is a button, but we've already used all of the buttons. That just isn't possible.
Yeah, it might be possible in some other form where maybe the game will decide for you when to slow-mo, but that would be...
Watch out, a tree.
Exactly, that would be annoying after a while. So then you would have to turn that off again through the options menu. I don't know.
It's a maybe.
It's a maybe. It was fun to do in the last episode. Yeah, that's it, I guess.
Thinking maybe we could just put another option in the gigantic list of already mappable actions that we have and make it optional so you could put it on the keyboard or something.
So if someone wants to, say, be able to turn on slow motion rather than turn right, we could give them that option.
That's definitely possible. Yeah.
Okay, that seems to me like an easy sacrifice to make. There are worse sacrifices there.
If you just want to go to the left and explore the left side.
The left side does look really interesting. I haven't flown too much on the left.
Let's explore then, shall we?
Speaking of exploring, we've got some progress to explore in the new beta release. And as we've detailed in previous episodes, you can get the beta release really easily just by going to the properties menu of Steam for Volo Airsport and switching it on. And you can actually mess around with the things that we're messing around in these streams, unless we otherwise specify. You can't do this yet, it's broken, don't look at it, don't look.
This you can look at, this you can even play.
Yeah, so look!
So this is beta 3 for 3.7, and one of the big features of it that can be taken for granted quite easily is that joystick support is now fixed.
Supposedly, yeah. It works a lot better. It no longer activates the keyboard in place of the controller. You can now have the keyboard and the controller active at the same time. So remapping is become a lot easier. This should also fix the issues people were having with using their joystick, weren't able to use their joysticks in the game. I really hope it fixed that, so please let me know if it did or if it didn't, because if it didn't, I have to look into it again.
As we've said in previous episodes, we need testers, so definitely if you enjoy Volo Airsport or don't even own it yet and like what you're seeing, pick up the game on Steam or itch.io, enable a test release, and let us know how this can be improved so we can give you the best possible version of 3.7.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for joysticks, I guess.
There's also this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing it. I'm pretty happy with it.
Look at it.
The Volo Ragdoll now has actual physical movements, and it looks like it's not being dragged by the parachute, but is rather controlling it in a very cursory way while plummeting to their fate, which is cool. It adds so much life to the game, especially you can sometimes see the Volo model dragging its feet along the ground. It looks like much more like parachuting. I didn't know how much just a simple number of physical reactions how much of a difference that would make to how high fidelity the parachute simulation felt. I had no idea.
Yeah, same here actually. I'm quite surprised how much of a difference it makes to see just a little human dangly thing in there, just being an actual character that you can relate to, and then Like, if he's dragging his feet along the ground, your brains just go, I'm dragging my feet along the ground, and suddenly the scale makes sense and the speed makes sense, where previously it was all just arbitrary.
And you could even lift up your legs to clear a rise in cases where doing so it will not fail.
Like,
I feel so much empathy with this character, the struggle of not face planting into the ground. It's like me. I have a deep connection with this character, yeah.
It's actually me.
It's actually
surf
you.
it. It's I suck at this game, obviously, but one really nice thing that I like to do with this just now is try and find little ridges and little patches of snow that are steep enough that I don't have to stop on them, but have enough of a slope to them that I can sort of drag my feet along them or slide my feet along them, and then just look cool while doing it. It's one of the hardest things ever to do.
I mean, but anything done in the pursuit of looking cool is worth doing.
Oh no! And then what? Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah.
There
By
you go.
virtue of me being able to pull up my feet and keeping that move.
That's so nice.
And actually, what I really like and what I really appreciate is that was a direct promise y'all made in an earlier episode. I think it was episode 10 where you said, this won't be ready until the Volo ragdoll actually is using the parachute instead of the parachute using them. That was a direct thing you said that you needed to have in the game before you felt that it would even be ready to go to the next beta release. And y'all did it. And I'm really surprised and impressed, and I usually don't play the test branch of Volo Air Sport because just the prospect of opening up the parachute, I see Martin doing it and I'm like, I could do better than that, and then I don't do better than that. I do so much worse, and I just kind of have to come to terms with that fact for a little bit. So stuff like this actually makes me want to sort of venture outside of my normal comfort zone, which is pretty huge.
There is a point, Nelson, that when you're not on the test branch, you will see a blinking light on Steam, update queued for Volo. And then it's time. you know what you have to do.
And when the time comes, I think I'll be ready to do my duty. Speaking of duties, the parachute has a duty to not kill you, and that directly relates to an aerodynamic problem that we spoke about before the show. Martin, Frank, can you elaborate on that?
Yes. We call it the surge problem. It's been an interesting little problem to work on. It's, let me deploy the parachute again, fresh. The stages of deployment are first, the parachute just starts generating a lot of drag, and it falls behind you as it's dragged along with the wind, and then you swing forward underneath it. But then it starts leveling out, and it starts generating lift as it starts aligning with your direction of flight. And then, let me do it again. Then it has a moment where it picks up a lot of forward speed and just goes.
That was a very informative onomatopoeia you just did.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that. So you have that with real parachutes as well. It's just once they reach a certain critical angle, they're no longer stalling and they actually start generating lift, like the wings that they are. And the lift drags them forward. And then that forward speed picks up, which makes them go faster, which increases the amount of lift. Plus the angle gets better, so it generates even more lift. So it's a positive feedback loop. It goes faster, 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 faster.
Yeah.
If that gets too wild, your parachute gets out of control. And so in real life parachute design, that's something that you have to be worried about when you're designing them. And when you're flying high-speed parafoils as well, you need to make sure that you don't accidentally do that. So in the game, of course, that problem happens as well, except for the longest time I kind of considered it as a bug, that I needed to squash out of my aerodynamics.
Instead of an emergent issue resulting from your systems working together really in an organic way.
Yes! And so this week, I really needed to start tackling it. And actually yesterday I was still sort of going, how do I deal with this? It's really annoying, because I'd fix it for one parachute by tweaking the aerodynamics, and then another parachute would have the problem, but even worse. And then I just realized, hey, in real life, they do things like stowing the brakes on deployment. So when the parachute deploys, it's not like the brakes are all the way released. They're like 50% pulled down, which slows the wing down and means it can't surge forward as fast as it otherwise would have. And so I started implementing this. Hey, as long as we're deploying while the parachute is still unfolding, the brakes are stowed. And that actually solved a lot of those problems.
So you found a real world solution worked to your in-game engine issues.
Yes, basically. And that was a really nice confluence of the virtual world and the real world kind of coming together and inspiring each other.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a nice little anecdote.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of other fixes as well, correct?
Yeah. So many. So many that we wrote down that I should scroll down.
Yeah, I'm just
list.
gonna pull them up,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna make them scroll by on the screen really fancy.
Yeah. So the trajectory line needs to be turned off in the parachute editor. That has been fixed. Factor player controller into something that supports animation for parachute flight, whatever that means.
That's mine.
Parachute deployment is way too harsh. That's what we talked about.
Yes.
Ragdoll for parachute flight. Well, you've all seen that now. Also fixed. Keyboard controls should always work and not conflict with joystick. We talked about that. That's fixed. Blah blah blah. No
Some
reference.
internal stuff.
Screen shake doesn't have valid pilot reference. Also fixed.
Yeah, that
Very
meant the
nice
screen
to
shake
know.
didn't work.
Third person camera is clipping through the player geometry. That's not so much an issue, although it still happens.
Yeah, you can still force the camera to do it, but in the most obvious cases where you weren't actually moving the camera around, it used to do it. It doesn't do it now, so fixed.
Yeah, and there's a fix for the audio where we needed to update the audio project files because there were some sound files missing or references not working well. I don't. You fixed that one, so I don't really know the details.
But it's fixed.
It's fixed.
Who gives a?
Wingsuit pilot head has 2 camera mounts. Well, that's fixed.
Yeah, I was thinking actually that's not a bug, that's a feature. What's better than one GoPro mount on your helmet? It's probably 2 and 3 for multiple directions or 3D capturing rigs. So
The first time you said that, I actually imagined that the Volo model had 2 heads that were simultaneously capturing video. So it was like a dual-headed flying monstrosity, and I kind of miss that now, but it's fixed.
yeah,
I'm sorry, it's fixed.
yeah, but I'll unfix it for you in a special build in the Nelson branch.
It's only available for you.
Super secret
Camera
passwords.
animations. Sorry?
I said the super secret password in the
Yeah.
Nelson branch.
Nelson 123.
Well, the list goes on, basically. We just wanted to show, well, what's kind of the day-to-day issue list that we go through.
Yeah, there we go.
And you can help
That's
us
the whole
find
list.
more of these and contribute to the Sisyphean task of getting 3.7 released by getting the test release, the beta release.
Yes.
It's available for you right now, and instructions should be on the screen as we speak.
Yes! Yeah, so do that. Help us test. Help us make this better. And by God, we will release this thing on the main branch at some point. I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much there now.
But of course, you can't get the beta release if you don't own the game, correct?
This is very true. You should tell people what to do about this thing.
You can.
This problem that they have.
Wow, it is a problem. You can buy Volo Airsport right now on Steam and itch.io. It's quite an attractive price. And if you just liked this look inside the development of Volo Airsport, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And as you can see, we read your comments, we obsess over them, we dream of them late into the night. We need that feedback. It's a circle of life, and you can contribute to it.
Yeah. We love you.
So,
All right. We love you. That's a good note to end on.
So
We love
without
you.
further ado, till next time, pilots.
Yeah. See you.
See you.